Okay, so it's race week. It's my first race of the year, Ironman Lanzarote 70.3, and I thought I'd just take you through some of my fears, routine, and the excitement that I have for the first race of the year. So starting off with fears, I think that it's only natural to kind of fear the first race of the season because you're desperate for the training, the hard work that you've put in over the winter season and prep before the race to come into fruition and basically be translated into a good race performance. So this is the first opportunity that you get to put it to the test, and you want it to go well because you've put in so much hard work before this race to be able to show off like what you've done and hope that it translates into a good race performance. I've had it so many times whereby I come to the first race of the season, I think I'm somewhere like physically that I'm probably not, and I go in expecting a result that I'm probably not worthy of. Therefore that expectation isn't met with reality and it's disappointing. But I've spent most of my life in a draft legal setup, so it's a little bit more reliant on what other people are doing. Whereas now I've moved long course, it's slightly more on my terms because I think long course relies slightly less on what other people are doing rather than what I'm able to do. So I think that it's far more likely that I'm able to just use my physiology to the best of its ability this time round and get the most out of myself. Whereas, like I said, in draft legal stuff, if other people have raced before, earlier in the season, or are more prepared, then it takes the race away from you straight away. So just off to meet Harry for an open water swim and parked up. Don't know if I have to pay, but gonna wing it. And family club, it'll be fine. Anyway, see how this open water swim goes, see how the body feels after traveling yesterday, and I usually feel pretty terrible today, so we'll see. Other fears that I've got is things like traveling. Like obviously you want travel to go smoothly. It's a little bit of an extra stress, especially when you're racing abroad. You want the bike to arrive in one piece, which it did, thank God. And then you also like don't want any delays or anything like that. You just want everything to be as smooth as possible. My last fear is, since being here, it is quite evident that it's very windy. And I've got some deep front wheels on, which means that the wind catches it when it's coming from the side, and it's a little bit sketchy. So we'll have to deal with that as it comes. Hey there, little fella. Anyway, my routine. I tend to keep the same routine every single time that I race. So my race week setup is pretty similar in terms of the training that I do, in terms of like the travel. I try to travel on the same days that each time round, and in terms of what to expect from like a race briefing scenario, the race day scenario, I try and keep everything very similar, even to what I eat. So that routine stays the same. It reduces that decision fatigue of what to do on race week, and it reduces the kind of guesswork when it comes to a race and why I performed the way that I did. My race week is pretty similar, like I say, every single time, so that when it comes to the race, I'm not second guessing that what I've done in preparation for that. And I know that this week works for me because I've had good races off of the back of it. So it's nothing to do with that preparation week as to whether I go well or not well. Obviously, different locations mean different sort of routines and decision fatigue. Like, whilst I'm out here, it's actually quite difficult to get to a pool, so I'm struggling to stick it into my proper routine, like of 7:30 a.m. swim and then run straight after. It's a little bit more difficult, and I don't have the squad around me, obviously, or I do have Harry here, so I can meet up with him, and I do that so that it encourages me and motivates me to get out and do something, because I think on race week I tend to just go into myself a little bit, not really want to do too much because you've got the race on your mind. So without it being easy, without having to meet someone, I think that you can end up just staying in bed, which is what I do like most of the time. And I struggle to drag myself out of bed and meet at certain times unless I have specific times that I'm going to be there. So if I'm on my own then, and the pool's in easy proximity or whatever it is, then yeah, sure, I'll go and do that at the times that I want to do it. But if not, it's actually quite difficult to do. So at the moment, because the sea is a lot closer than the pool I think is 25 minutes away, which I will definitely consider the next time I end up booking accommodation. That being said, Emily did book this accommodation and it is fantastic. Thank you very much. But I think, yeah, next time I'll definitely locate myself near a pool, because that is the one thing that is actually quite difficult to do without being close to it. But yeah, all in all, it's been pretty easy out here in Lanzarote, especially to run and cycle. Well, that being said, the cycling, like I said before, it is very windy and it's a bit sketchy out there, but it's easy to get out on the bike. It's easy to find the routes and do the race course. Like, I'm literally located on the race course, so nice and easy to get out and do that and practice it. So yeah, all in all, pretty good on that front. Oh, let's get in here. Just gotten back from my prep run, and I don't know how I do that pace for a whole half marathon. Like, it just doesn't seem feasible. And I always find this, like, just before a race, is like the pace that your race pace is actually quite difficult to sustain. I don't know whether it's just a mental thing or not. I've proven in the past that I can sustain that race pace. It's just a case of it doesn't seem right. It seems hard when you're not in a race itself. I guess you get the adrenaline, the emotions, and all of that sort of jazz. But yeah, like, that was a full kind of race pace effort with my race shoes and sort of race pace scenario. Did 2 by 10 minutes. So this was a classic case of not doing exactly what I'd planned on doing. I wanted to swim and then run, and just ended up running because that was the priority today. It is hot at this time of the day, and this is roughly the time that I'm going to be racing tomorrow. So I'm definitely going to find it very toasty. I'm going to have to be careful of that, make sure I'm well hydrated. I've suffered in the past really bad. I mean, Eton was bad, and a few other races have been terrible for my kind of hydration and fueling. So that's going to be probably one of my focuses for this race. Just stay fueled, stay kind of in good nick all the way until the end. But maybe I'm not in that sort of run shape. Like, maybe it's only, well, when I say only, it's all relative, but 3:30 per K. I've done that before. I want to do that again. Anyway, this week's routine has been just, in general, as a rule of thumb, about 25% less than what I usually do. So that's a good rule of thumb for you guys to also apply to yourselves, is if you've got a normal week, the taper week looks like 25% of that normal week, and that will give you some nice rested legs and things. I'll show you what my week is usually like on the screen, but yeah, no, so pretty much ready now. I've got one more prep day to do, and that's like a proper swim session and a proper bike session, which will be about 25 minutes of build work. So yeah, and then registration and things, so almost there. Got to go teach now. And lastly, yes, I am excited for this race. I really want to do well. I think I am in good form. It just depends on who else turns up and how the race pans out. Can't really control that as to my end result. But yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait to get going. It's just now delivering myself to that race in as good a shape possible, physically and mentally. But yeah, no, I think definitely ready to go. Got teaching to do today, which, you know, part of my weekly routine. I'd prefer not to have to do it just because it's race week, but I've shuffled things around so that it's a little bit easier for me to do online. And yeah, no, in general, just looking forward to it. Looking forward to the end of the bike leg, I think, because obviously you have the possibility or fear of mechanical failure, or in this case, wind and coming off your bike, because the descents are pretty sketchy with the deep front wheel. But yeah, other than that, I think it will be a good race. Really looking forward to it. It's a strong field. So yeah, I think every race that I have, I'm excited to do, I think. Obviously there's nerves involved in that excitement, because like I said earlier in the video, you want to do well. But yeah, all in all, I think that if you can manage that excitement and you get to the start line in a good mental state and don't twat the first like couple hundred meters of the swim and burn yourself for the rest of the race, then yeah, it's going to be a good one. But if you want to stay tuned and make sure you check in how I get on, do follow the tracker, do check in for the next video, and hopefully I'll have got something good to report on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.